everybody. Welcome to the Great Reset podcast where insurance meets accountability. And I'm your host, Patrice Johnson. And today we have a very special guest. Like I said, this ain't the shade room. This is all about bringing information to the public. So we're going to explore a different career path outside of life insurance. And today we're going to talk about virtual health care. This is exciting. I'm having my guest Ed Blunt today, and stay tuned for more. And once again, everybody, Patrice Johnson with Agent Score Reports present the Great Reset podcast for insurance with accountability. And today I have the amazing Ed Blunt with me. With that being said, Ed, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Ed Blunt. Patrice, I appreciate you inviting me on to your awesome and amazing podcast.
Thank you.
You and I had some great pre-convo before this one, just about the importance of impact and living a life of service and being on purpose. I started out in entertainment. So I was an actor in New York City for many, many years.
Oh,
Did a lot of theater, performed in London and Russia and throughout the United States, and then got on off-Broadway, Broadway, film, television. Many of you know people that I've worked with: Denzel Washington, Jodie Foster, Clive Owen, et cetera, et cetera. Had a great life, had an incredible, fantastic adventure. And while I was acting, I met some people in the business world, some entrepreneurs, some very successful speakers. And they challenged me to start thinking a little bit differently beyond my current dynamic as a performer only. Many of you understand that as an actor, you're an actor for hire. You don't really have a lot of power, and you're only as good as your next audition or your next job. So starting to learn business, my daughter had just been born. I was on Broadway. I was in the middle of shooting a movie with Denzel. And I said, you know what? I want to learn more about business. I want to learn more about sales. I want to learn how to make my own money instead of depending upon a great TV show that I booked or a great film that I just lucked up to be in. And so I got involved in business, started building sales teams, started learning entrepreneurialism, and that absolutely changed my life. And fast forward now, I have combined my business experience and acumen with the virtual healthcare space because I noticed that a lot of people were not satisfied with the amount of money they've been spending on traditional health insurance and feeling like they're not getting as much in return. And on top of that, there's another 30 plus million people in the United States that don't have any form of healthcare whatsoever because they just can't afford it. So when we brought this to market, something that is incredibly affordable for anyone, no matter where you live, if it's the oldest housing project in the country, which I've worked in, or the richest neighborhood, everybody can afford it. So I got excited about that, and that's what brought us together.
That's fantastic to hear. And we didn't touch on the acting thing. That's so funny that you brought that up because I too was in the acting world doing a lot of background, getting on some shows.
Okay.
So, and I feel like it had a lot to do with my success in insurance. Maybe not the business perspective, but definitely improv and acting, especially when it comes to sales and knowing how to come up with something quick. I shared with my last guest that I was on the court TV shows. I was like, one your grandma watches on Channel 2. I was like, they're not real. I mean, I had a lot of fun and I was able to translate that into this career. And I think that's what makes the insurance industry so multifaceted. Like, you really can do anything in here, and people really, anybody really can do this. But I think the problem is we need to put you in the sector that makes sense for you. Because life insurance may not make sense and health insurance may be your forte. And that's why this podcast is so important, because I want to show people all of the paths available in the insurance industry and how you can apply it. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey into the insurance industry? What initially attracted you to selling at life insurance, and how did you transition into the health insurance option?
So it was leadership that attracted me to the life insurance model. So it was very much by happenstance. I was consuming this entrepreneurial content of a gentleman that has a podcast, and I was really moved and inspired by his business acumen, his leadership principles, his knowledge of sales, building sales teams, what's required from a work ethic standpoint. He doesn't pull punches. He doesn't gloss it over. He doesn't try to make it sweet and nice. He's like real honest, like, listen, if you're willing to work hard, because we happen to be in the United States of America, we have the ability and the opportunity to set our value and go out and get it. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't have that as an option. So I thought he was just a content provider. And I did some digging and I found out, oh, this guy owns an insurance company. Like he started one. He
Hmm.
was a sales rep selling life insurance, and then he decided to open up his own company. And I was like, wow. And I looked at his trajectory over the last 11 years, and I was like, he started with like 60 people, and now he's got 20,000. Like,
Wow.
getting people uh, to look at life insurance and then
Yeah.
getting them licensed and then getting them active. Those are specific steps that you gotta,
Yes.
you gotta do some digging to find people that want to take advantage of it. And I looked
Exactly.
at life insurance and I said, oh, well, it's a 2,000-year-old industry.
Hmm.
It's when you drive in any major city, you're not going to not see a significant business building that is not life insurance. I don't care where
Wonderful.
you go. And so I'm like, man, this is a very stable industry. It is a very lucrative industry.
Hmm.
All you have to do is do the digging and do the work to identify people, and you're providing a valuable service. Because
Exactly.
obviously, I have life insurance, you have life insurance. Like, we
Definitely.
know that it's important to have,
Yeah.
especially if you're a parent. It's a non-negotiable if you're a parent. So I
Yeah.
looked at all those factors and I said, okay, I'm going to reach out to this person, which I did. And he responded within 2 hours, which I was shocked because he big time. He big time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how I got involved in life insurance. I said to myself, I want to learn this space because it's a skill that once you learn it, you'll always have it.
Yes.
And also, helping people to have a better understanding of the importance of life insurance, educating the prospective consumer customer. I think that's a very important part of it. So I liked all those elements, which is, why I said yes and why I made the
Yeah.
commitment to build a book of business.
So when we had talked earlier, you had mentioned you never intended to be in this industry. You only joined because of the friend that you
Yeah.
mentioned.
Hmm.
What was it about their mentorship and business acumen that you kept you motivated to stay in the field?
Um, it was the fact that they had very clear and specific principles
Hmm.
that they live by, and they exemplify everything that they teach.
Mm.
So, for example, outwork, out improve, out strategize, outlast. Like, that's been drilled into my head.
Yeah.
Outwork is something that any of us can do.
Yeah.
Out improve is something that any of us can do if we choose to. Out strategize is something that anybody can do. Outlast. So, in other words, when you look at business, especially in this era of social media and instant likes and feedback, people look at people and they're like, oh, that person's hot. Oh, she's hot. He's hot. He's
Yeah.
really doing it. And he always said, you're not going to know who's hot for another 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
It's easy to work hard for a day. Like,
Hmm.
I ask this question when I do my trainings. I'll be in a room full of salespeople. It could be 500, it could be 5,000. And I'll say, how many of you have worked a 12 to 18-hour day on your business? Raise your hand. Everybody raises their hand. Okay, how many of
Yeah.
you all have done it like 5 times? Then all of a sudden, 70% of the hands go down. How
Yeah.
many of you all have done it 5 to 6 days a week for at least a month? All the hands go down, right? How many of
Yeah.
y'all have done that consistently for 12 months? Nobody raises their hand
Yeah.
because that's a choice.
Yeah.
That's a choice. So principles like that is what I fell in love with because I completely related to it when I built my own sales team when I was in
Yeah.
travel. Like I knew exactly what he was talking about. Like there's no way I was able to build an organization of 140,000 sales
Yeah.
reps. I don't do that without applying those things. I just didn't know that I was doing it.
Yeah.
Like he had a language for it. He had a system
Yes.
for it, right?
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
that's what kept me, locked in and what we were doing when I was in life insurance.
And I love that you brought that up because I feel like on this journey, starting this podcast, starting this website, I'm encountering a lot of people that I otherwise wouldn't have maybe had as deep of conversations like this. And
Hmm.
I too am finding myself going, yes, yes, that's what I'm talking about. They're giving me the language and the words. And I'm like, that's why this is so important to bring it all together and put it in one spot so we can give those languages and those words to people. Because realistically, my only experience in this industry was figure it out yourself. Like I
Mm,
knew how to outwork all these things, but I didn't have those examples like you did. So I
yeah.
love that you're here and thank you so much for being here because I want people to know there are those good people out there, but you got to look.
Yes.
I was too busy researching how to just do the job, calling the
Right.
carrier, reading the policies, understanding just what was in front of me, something that should have already been systemized for me to just
Hmm.
plug into it. I had to go figure out my own curriculum to understand this business. Now I'm in that position where I'm like, now I'm trying to outwork, outlast, outdo,
Hmm.
all those
Hmm.
things. And I want to minimize that space for people. I
Yes.
want them to be like you. I want them to be able to jump in here and get to it. Obviously, they're still going to have the trial and error and all the things and the ups and downs of this business, but they're not going to be messing around and meeting with people who aren't going to be who they say they are and
Yeah.
exemplify the things that they say. Like, you almost made the decision to go full time into life insurance sales, but you held back. Could you share what factors influenced that decision and eventually led you to focus on health insurance?
So I think that for a lot of us, we want to improve our lives. We want to be
Mm,
in better situations, be better providers for our families.
yeah.
And I saw clearly that life insurance was a very practical tool that I could utilize.
Yeah.
Um, However, it was because there wasn't anything else that I saw before me that really grabbed my attention as a
Hmm.
tool of empowerment for the next 20. Well, like, what can I do for the next 20 years consistently, day in and day out, to
Yeah.
build, this portfolio, of this financial portfolio? So it was all, again, it was happenstance. It was very organic. Someone asked me, an owner of a company asked me to do a training for their burgeoning sales force. I said, sure, I'm happy to help you. You're good. We're friends. I didn't know what they were doing. And
Yeah.
so when I decided to do this training for them, I looked at the company and what they were doing. And I was like, wait a minute, is this real? Like, you guys are really, these are the price points. So you're offering families of 8 a membership for this virtual care platform, and it's $60 a month.
Mm.
I was like, bruh, that's not even $8 a head. Like,
Yeah. Compared to what
that's eight
family.
dollars a month per person. Like, are
Yeah.
you kidding me? And
Yeah.
so I knew in that moment, you all are really focusing on people over profit instead of profit over
Mm.
people. I understood, okay, we're going to have to get at least 1 million members before we can look at the money side of this. Like,
Yeah.
that's how you make real money. You get 1 million members. Well, Patrice, I looked at my dynamic of, okay,
Mhm.
I know what it's like to build an organization of
Yeah.
140,000, how long it took me to do it with the help of other leaders that I had built and cultivated. So I said, man, 1 million members at this price point is a, for me, it was a no-brainer, because if you can if you can experience 140,000 people spending anywhere from, let's say, 500 to $1,000 on something,
Yeah.
you can obviously envision 1 million people spending $60 on something.
Exactly.
That's right. That's number
Yeah.
one. Number two, I do believe that there's a lot of there's some issues with big pharma, big food. It's a profit over people model,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Unfortunately, and I've had this conversation with a lot of ER doctors, if you and I go to the ER, they have to test us. They
Hmm.
have to spend 13, 15, 20 grand to make sure that we're okay, because we live in such a litigious society. It's better for them to spend that 20 grand testing us and we're okay.
Yeah.
But, well, now we get hit with that bill, which means the health insurance is going to have to cover that bill. We're going to have to pay the deductible, because it's all about covering your butts, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a broken part of the system. So when I looked at it from a common sense standpoint,
Hmm.
I know that the majority of people that go to the ER or urgent care don't need to go. They
Yeah.
just need information. Well, for $60 a month, they can get the information and not get hit with a bill that's, 900 or $1,000 or more unnecessarily.
Yeah. And I love that people over profit.
Yeah.
So many companies preach that, but they don't exemplify that. So I
Hmm.
love that you were able to show that, because we're not trying to sell people $100, $50,000 a month policies, as far as health insurance go, because I've seen the premiums, on average be $2,000 a month, depending on what company you have and what group insurance they were supposed to get a hold of. So, like, I love that what you're doing, they actually represent it, and then I can hear it. There's so many
Yeah.
people who say that, but then you're selling somebody a policy that you get a bonus on, and then it
Right.
already rates them at a table 4.
Yeah.
And anyone can come behind you to replace that policy. And what happens is, even if I can get my client a cheaper policy, what happened? They lost a little bit of trust in the industry,
Yeah.
because whatever that agent did to get them to purchase it, you made them believe that they needed it and you were doing the best thing for them. And then I
Hmm.
come behind them, probably the same company sometimes, or we have the same type of companies as an independent agent. And I would
Yeah.
be like, why did they sell you that?
Hmm.
This company is only good if you're a smoker, because you can get, non-smoker rates really, really cheap. But I said, I can either give you triple the insurance, or I can save you about 30, $40.
Yeah.
And so, that's what I'm saying. It's building that trust back into the industry. And that's what I want. I want to make sure that we are taking care of people. And even the people I have on my show, that they are taking care of people. So your current focus is on virtual health insurance. Can you explain how offering virtual insurance differs from traditional models, and what benefits this brings to both agents and clients? Like, I know you touched on it a little bit, but if you can
Sure.
dive into how maybe it can supplement the agents and clients.
Right. So there's a key distinction. We're virtual health care. We're not health insurance. Health insurance
Okay.
is an industry, right? So
Yes.
there's regulation. You got to get tested before you could sell it, and that's as it should be, because you're talking about people that have terminal illnesses and complicated
Yeah.
situations, right? That's fine.
Yeah.
That's not what we do. We provide virtual care, meaning if this is the everyday stuff, right?
Yeah.
Allergies, skin rashes, UTIs, stomach viruses, fevers, blah, blah, blah. We can deal with those things. So that's a key distinction right there. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, because we don't have that regulation, we're just word of mouth purveyors of something that we've already tested. So for the last 5 years, we've only been serving employees of big fancy schmancy companies. So we've been able to accumulate 350,000 case studies,
Wow.
people that have gotten the membership. They love the membership. The retention is over 90%. We know that it works. We know they see the value. We're helping them save money. So when people sometimes, and I've been asked this question, well,
Yeah.
what if I have to go see a doctor? Well, the good news is that you're not going in blind now. So if I use my virtual care and the doctor says, well, based on the symptoms that you're telling me, your heart is palpitating and you
Yeah.
got 105 fever, get your behind to the ER right now
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
ask them this, this, and this. Okay, well, now
Yeah.
I'm going armed with information. Or it could be, wait a minute, your heart is beating. Can you just take a couple deep breaths? Okay, how about now? Oh, you're just having a little bit of anxiety. Calm yourself
Yeah.
down. Go do some deep breathing. And then,
Yep.
if you want to follow
Yep.
up in a couple hours, you could do it. And I'm
Yeah.
not out of $800 to $1,000 for going into the ER. So I
Amen.
love that we cover it from both sides, but it's really for that demographic of people. Again, the majority of people that go to the ER and into urgent care do not need to go. They're
Yes.
only going because they can't get a physician on the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning. They don't have that in their
Yeah.
Rolodex. We provide them that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I would even add, if I think about my most recent visits, it was really
Mm-hmm.
to get a prescription, to get
Mm-hmm.
medication. I knew what was wrong, but I
Mm-hmm.
also knew I needed to see a doctor. And I couldn't
Okay.
just walk into my physician without an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go to the ER. Like, that was the only reason. And now I've then spent 4, 6 hours there at this point, even with all the testing. And
Yep.
what you're saying is, now it's like, hey, I can call, make sure that's what I need before I even go there. Now, I know this offers prescriptions too with this virtual care.
Mm-hmm.
Now, tell me how I could avoid maybe even going to the ER
Mm-hmm.
to get that prescription, because that's why I would go. I usually go to get a prescription.
Right. So I give you an example because this is something that I'm getting educated on in real time.
Okay.
It never occurred to me that there were so many people taking prescription medication.
Mm,
That just never occurred to me, right? We see the world as we are, not as it is.
yeah.
So we had a pastor that came on board, got a membership. He started sharing it with his congregation, his savings, and all of that. A gentleman that was spending just under $400 a month on his prescription medication. He looked at our formulary. So, for those of you that may not know, formulary is like all the medications that you have available to your customer. He looked at our formulary. He said, "Man, all these meds are what I'm taking." He purchases his membership. So we have a higher level membership that's everything is under $100, but he got the highest level membership. Okay. So he got the membership and immediately his cost went from just under $400 a month to zero
That is huge.
because all the prescriptions were in our formulary. So as long as he has his membership and he's spending less than $100 a month, he gets all his medications at
I
zero
mean, he just
cost.
saved over $300 and he's still getting his medication.
That's almost $5,000 a year.
1000%.
Think about that. Like that's
Yeah.
huge.
And when I think about it from an agent perspective, that is now $300 I can teach you how to put your family in a better position,
That's a
how
good
to
tie-in.
allocate that money. And I'm not trying to spend it. Somebody be like,
No,
now
no, it's a
let's
good
put
tie-in.
$300 and get you a term. No, no, no. Now we're going to go show you how to multiply that $300.
It's a good time. You're right. Because again, money saved spends just as good as money earned. So
Yes.
you're bringing your expertise, if it's an IUL or something of that nature, and you're saying,
Yeah,
look, since you have this extra money, let's just take half of it and see what can we do with half of that.
exactly.
You know, like
You see
it's
my sales
creative.
brain working.
It's
I'm like,
creative.
I'm like, I
That's
can
what we
help
do.
people.
It's what we do.
Yes,
100%.
yes. So, how does your agency's business model allow you to build a strong, long-lasting relationships with clients? You mentioned creating a transformation arc over a 5 to 7 year period. Can you elaborate on how that works?
So building that relationship, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes understanding human nature. So one
Yeah,
of the things is I have to be very aware that people's attention spans are that of, a fly.
yeah, yeah,
6 to 8 seconds is what I'm going to get if I'm lucky. So just because you buy a membership from me doesn't mean that you're going to organically and naturally think to yourself, well, let me plug into what's going on. So I am very good at communication. And I'll say, hey, Patrice, listen, we're having a call on Sunday. Just hop on. It's just a leadership, personal development call for your life. It's not
mhm,
specifically only for our agents, it's for anyone that's wanting to make improvements. So by
mm,
bringing value to our customer base, but also to people
yeah,
that are evaluating us and wanting to see if they want to become an agent, they can look at our training and look at the principles that we teach every Sunday. They can
mm,
plug into the overviews where they get educated on our products, they get educated on our membership. We're doing some stuff with ConnectMD Fit, which is about fitness and weight loss and better health and better nutrition. We have nutritional
yeah,
coaching that we provide. So I communicate with our membership base as well as our agents to say, hey, if you're able to hop on, I understand, like maybe today's not a good day for you, but next Sunday might be a good day. But
yeah,
because we do it every week, multiple times a week consistently, they can start to plug in. We do live events quarterly. So this next month or in December, we'll be in Orlando for
yeah,
another live event that we just did one in August. So that gives people events to plug into, calls and Zooms to plug into to see other people's faces. And over time, you build relationship. Over
yeah,
time, you strengthen that trust bond because they see and understand that we're really about the value add in your life, period. So if you're rocking with me and your life
yeah.
doesn't get better, then it's my fault. It's because I'm not doing something that I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, but I love that because I'm thinking about this in two different ways. One, as a client, as a customer, even though I feel like, hey, if my health and insurance person sold me something, I'd be like, okay, I wouldn't necessarily plug in. But over time, if you consistently doing it, and because it's like you're not trying to sell me, right? I've already bought it, right? So you're
Right.
not trying to sell me at this point. Like I'm
Yeah.
whatever. What I got was going to benefit my family. So you even reaching out over time, I'm like, huh, he's just still talking to me. Let me see what he's got going on. Like, even if I watch
Exactly.
5 minutes, eventually I'm going to click that button. Now, when I
Hmm.
think about it on the agent side, I think about how we're always being told to recruit our friends and family. Like it is
Hmm.
rampant here because in the independent side, depending on the IMO you're with, it's recruit, recruit, recruit. They're like a
Yeah.
revolving door because they don't have the principles that you're talking about. They don't have the resources and the training, and they know they're going to churn and burn agents so fast when they come into this industry. But the way it's going about, it's almost as if your clients can become your team at some point, especially if they're able to engage in these events, because they might organically bring their friends and families to this event. Like, hey, this is the insurance that I have, and they have a local event. Let's go and see what they got going on. Like,
Hmm.
it's a very inclusive thing that really brings down their guard and then naturally grows your business. It's more of it's like a non-salesy attack approach where no one's not trying to invite you for Thanksgiving and Christmas because you're going
Right.
to be trying to sell them insurance or trying to
Hmm.
recruit them and say, hey, just see it and try it out.
Hmm.
It's going to allow them to see the opportunity and walk into it. I mean, I just love the approach because it feels really good in terms of building a model as I'm thinking about this being another path for agents to have another option in this industry. This is such a nice way to go into your clients because number one, you're already selling them something that they definitely need and is going to save them a lot of money, even if it's a supplement. It's going to
Yeah.
save them money and time, especially if you're a parent like me. I don't want to take them to my son to the doctor where he's going to be exposed in the ER with others' illnesses and sickness. Not everybody cups their hands, not everybody washes their hands either.
Yeah.
We saw that
Yeah.
with COVID.
Hmm.
If I can just hop on the phone real quick and make a quick call and they're like, hey, he's good. Let me put in a prescription for antibiotics and you don't got to move nowhere. Now I get to TLC my son, put him up in his bed, lock his door,
Yeah.
and continue about my day without skipping a beat. And I didn't have to leave my house.
That's
Like that
right.
is such a strong selling point right there that doesn't require bait and switching. That's
Yeah.
life. That is reality.
Hmm.
So, with that being said, the Affordable Care Act has opened new doors for health insurance agents. How has your agency adapted to offering clients more affordable healthcare options? And what does that mean for agents who want to capitalize on this market?
Well, that again, those rules don't apply to us
Hmm.
because we're virtual care. And because we're virtual care, we don't deal with chargebacks. We don't have them. There are no contracts, there's no commitments. We can simply say, here's the price point. It's $60 a month. I tell people, do it for 90 days. Take advantage of what we offer. I'm a big proponent. We have a one that's $80 a month. It's called Gold, and the reason I emphasize that one is because we offer mental health care. We have licensed
Hmm.
therapeutic care because I'm a big, big, big proponent of mental health and well being.
Same,
So
same.
I'll say to someone, go through a 90-day cycle. Take advantage of not only the mental health care, but we also do life coaching. We have debt coaching,
Wow.
money management. We have all these different levels of coaching that are offered with that membership. Do it for 90 days. And if you feel like you're not getting the value, then cancel it because I already know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I know that if they use it at least once a month for 90 days, that they'll never get rid of it because if you're saving more money than what you would spend, you would never, there's no reason for you to get rid of it. It costs you money. You lose money not
Yeah.
having the membership than if you didn't have it.
That is so huge. Mental health is so huge, especially a lot of us agents, right? Being in this business, it's a shock because, and I'll say this again, it's like being handed keys to a franchise business and then they walk away from you. No
Hmm.
handbook, no nothing.
Just
So
throw it against the wall, see what sticks.
yeah, literally throw the spaghetti on the wall and you see where it sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas here, it's like it's just being laid out for you. It's
Yeah.
right there. There's really just no deep thought into it. And when I think about the mental health aspect of it, and becoming an agent, and doing something like this where you're going to purchase the care, that is somewhere you can get help. How many times have we been out in the field? I know agents that are listening to this call right now. We've got no cell back to back to back, or somebody thought it was free. You wanted to scream in your car like you know there's nothing in America free. You can't even breathe here for free. Like, come on, man. So it's like just knowing that I can, like, mental health care is a call away. I don't need to book an appointment. I can just, as long as I have the coverage, I'm pretty much set up and ready to go.
Yeah.
Because I have explored the plan. I am a current agent. This is something I did add on as an explorer, because I wanted to explore all the options that were available. That is something that I have viewed and I looked into, and I thought, like, this is so key. This is so key, but I can't be the only voice that amplifies this. So I said, so why not go to the horse's mouth? Why not
Yeah.
hear it from
Yeah.
you? How huge that that can be. So can you
Mhm.
go a little bit more into the mental health care?
So what we know is, and I'll give you a real time example. A friend of mine is a
Yeah.
psychiatrist in DC, and she said, Ed, there is a 6-month waiting list just to get on the books if you're
Wow.
wanting mental health care attention. I said, okay. I looked at what we offer. So we have licensed therapeutic care. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the waiting period is between 2 and 4 hours versus six
I'll take that.
months, right?
I'll
Because
take
when you're
that.
talking about mental health, you can't gauge how
Yeah.
critical it is.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody can't wait for 6 months. Maybe it'll be too late. So I like the speed of service. I've gotten some really great feedback from some of the members that I've enrolled, where they'll say, "Hey, I'm not going to give voice to it because people use it as a crutch sometimes, but they'll tell me whatever their situation is,
Yeah.
and they'll say, I made an appointment and was on the call to the same day,
Wow.
and here's what we talked about," and they'll send me. They told me we're going to do this, this, and this, and we're going to do the
Wow.
next one a week from today. Thank you so much. Like, I feel like I have
Yeah.
some grasp of my situation right now. So
Yeah.
that dynamic of the mental health for me, which is the speed of access. So a
Yeah.
gentleman that is a veteran, and I never thought about this. He said, I made an appointment and I got serviced. He said it was like 23 minutes from the time he made the call till he got what he needed.
Yeah.
And he said to me, Ed, if I were to go through the VA, even though it's free because I'm a veteran, he's like, bro, they're like, well, it's going to be like 4 weeks before we can get to you because, there's a waiting line because it's free. He said, you save me time. That's way more important to me in
Yeah.
retirement, is that I didn't have to wait for 4 weeks because I have this membership. I was able to get my needs met in 23 minutes. So
Yeah.
that part of the mental health, but also it doesn't have to be a dire situation. It could just
Yeah.
be, hey, I'm disorganized.
Yeah.
Can I talk to somebody? Yes, you can. I'm always late. Can I talk to somebody? Yes, you can. I'm trying to get out of debt. Can I talk to somebody? Yes, you can.
Yeah.
So I like that we offer both sides of it,
Yeah.
helping you get out of a situation that you might be in a dark place, but also
Yeah.
helping you to make some improvements.
And I love it because I feel like it offers a sense of privacy that some people are prideful, but they know they need help and they
That's
don't
right.
want to ask.
That's right.
If I can get help in 23 minutes to 4 hours, that's awesome. And I love the three examples you gave because it gave very different extremes,
Yeah.
right? You
Yep.
have the one, I need help, I'm going to lose it. I have that, I'm a veteran, I fought for this damn country.
Yes.
What do you mean I have to wait 4 weeks? I need help.
Hmm.
And I have veterans within my circle, whether it's family or friends. And I
Hmm.
know how easy, and I know the switch that they have a lot. The biggest complaint that I hear from veteran is going from being in the service to being a civilian.
Right.
That is such a huge
Traumatic.
transition that I understand. I could never understand that, but I understand,
It's traumatic.
what that
Hmm.
means to come here, see how people are acting, and then you get this sense of, I literally went and left this country to fight for you to be here, to continue to live the lives that you live, and this is how you respect me. Some of them are more okay with it, like, hey, I fought for you to act like that. But some of them are more like, what the F?
Yeah.
So knowing that there's this kind of help where they can talk to someone to help maybe push them to that other side, that say, hey, think about it as at least they get to do that rather
Hmm.
than being mad at them doing it.
Yeah.
What opportunities do you see for the insurance agents to expand their business beyond life insurance?
Meaning, when you say beyond life insurance, in terms of what though?
Because a lot of times when we get our life and health license, we
Hmm.
just go straight into the life insurance.
Yeah.
So I would say, what do you think, knowing that this virtual care option is available? Like, how can you see other life insurance agents just really expanding beyond just the term and final expense?
Got it. I think one thing that's important is having this myopic focus on what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
Oftentimes people, they like the idea of, you've heard the phrase multiple streams of income. Uh, I think it's important to have some level of mastery of what you're doing. Prosper where you're planted. Once you
Mm.
prosper where you're planted, then you can have slight iterations that create a revenue stream. So for example, I was an actor for 13 or 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I had this book of, dozens and dozens of plays and films and TV. I had this huge resume. I had earned a certain amount of income doing that. I didn't have to do anything else. I was full
Yeah.
time. And then I was introduced to speaking. Speaking is an iteration of what I do as a
Mm.
stage performer. It's very different, but it's not that different.
Yeah.
So my learning curve as a speaker was probably, I want to say 10 months of
Yeah.
just grinding and doing presentation after presentation for free. But
Yeah.
within 10 months, I was earning 12,000 an hour as a speaker, not
Ooh.
because I just jumped into it, but because I had
Yeah.
14 years of success as an actor, right?
Yes.
So if I'm a life and health agent, um, let me build a book of business that is a multiple six-figure return annually, so that money's not an issue. Well,
Yeah.
now you got, $300,000, $400,000 a year coming in every year. This. Well, now it's a question of, okay, well, what's an iteration of what I can do with this? How can I pivot slightly? I'm not going to kill the golden goose. I'm going to keep that going. But now
Yeah.
I have cash flow where I can invest. And maybe I want to get together, and Patrice and I are going to buy a building, and we'll put, people in there that want to have
Yeah.
a podcast or whatever we're going to do. So,
Yeah.
but I think you have to do first things first. And oftentimes I see people and they spin off too early. And
Mm.
I'm like, yeah, but now you just started making $500,000 a year, and now you're jumping off into this other thing, and then
Yeah.
you kill that $500,000 a year thing because you thought this other thing was going to be great,
Yeah.
and now you have nothing.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to have a really solid foundation. Like, I still get calls. I'll do a photo shoot. I'll make $2,000 for 20
Yeah.
minutes of work, right?
Yep.
Well, again, I have 14 years of foundation, so I know what to do. I know how to do a photo shoot. I know how to do a commercial. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So that's what I think it's important, having that foundation.
No, seriously, and I love that you say that. It's just like you did the same thing with insurance. You evolved your career. And I wanted to really point out that evolve where you're planted. It doesn't mean, for the people that are listening, it doesn't mean stay at that bad agency, right?
Right.
That's hurting you, taking from you all those things. Look and research and find a better home. Make sure you're asking questions. And for my listeners, I have interview questions. All you have to do is email us at admin@agentscorereport. These are questions that have been thoroughly vetted that you should be asking anyone before you sign any contracts to make sure you're making the best foot forward as you continue to evolve where you're planted.
Good point.
Now, we didn't touch on this too much. As far as the agency you have, how do your agents go about getting clients? Are you guys lead based? Are they going out into the
Great
world and
question.
networking, or a little bit of everything?
Great question. So this is very organic. I always start with your database. Always start with your database. So that is friends, family,
Yeah.
associates, whoever you're doing business with, your doctor, your dentist, your attorneys, anybody, anywhere you're spending money, dry cleaners, they all should be aware of the membership that we offer. Now,
Yeah.
it's a little bit different with us because, again, it's just a membership. It's like Netflix. Like, hey,
Yep.
did you know about Netflix? No. What is it? Oh, you pay whatever it is a month, and here's what you get access to. So I say to people, hey, look, do you know about ConnectMD? They say no. I say, well, here, take a look at this. Here are the memberships, right? It's very simple. It tells you what you get in each membership. And if it makes sense to you, just click on the barcode. It'll take you right to the website and have at it. It's literally a 60-second conversation. So because it's so simple, and what we teach is, okay, you probably have 100 names and numbers in your phone. Yes. Okay,
Yep.
great. Well, is it fair to say that each of those people know at least 10 people? Yes. So that's 1,000 names and numbers that you actually have in your phone.
Yeah.
Are you on social media? Most people are. How many friends you have? Usually it's a couple hundred. There
Yep.
you go. So it's
Exactly.
there's this inexhaustible source of people that you can reach out to and have a conversation with. But it's a little bit different because it's not, unfortunately, people are they don't understand sales. I
Hmm.
literally just did a video, why sales. I literally just did a YouTube video, why sales. Check it out.
Yeah.
Because people don't understand selling is a part of life. Nothing is happening. You and
Yeah.
I are not here
Yeah.
unless I sold you that I could bring some value and you sold me that
Thank
you're bringing
you.
value too,
Thank
right?
you.
Nothing happens until something is sold.
And that's what I tell people. You're always selling. Even if I try to hire someone, I can't do this. You told yourself, you just sold yourself that you
That you
can't do this.
can't do it. That's right. So there's that. Now, as far as leads and buying
Mhm.
leads, I am not opposed to it. I've done it in the past. I think it's a great way to get more skilled at
Yeah.
building rapport and talking to people that you don't know. Um, and I have, people can make the case that, hey, I can make this much money if I make more money than what I spend to buy them. I don't have a problem with leads. We don't necessarily espouse that because we have so
Yeah.
many access to different databases and all that stuff. And we're really good at teaching people how to just go through it organically to
Yeah.
contact people.
Yeah. And so, compared to traditional healthcare, is this something that could replace healthcare or is it more of a supplement?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's not like if you're someone who is sickly, if
Hmm.
you're dealing with constant doctor visits, once a month, no, then you keep your situation. This can
Yeah.
be an add-on, kind of like when you
Okay.
have car insurance, but you also have
Yeah.
AAA.
Yeah.
We have had people, like a young lady said this to me on a call that I did last week. She said, I just canceled all of my health insurance because what you all offer is what we've been utilizing, which is more
Wow.
virtual, hands-off kind of things, and the
Yeah.
prescription costs, being low. And we do blood work, and listen,
Yeah.
we got a lot of stuff that we have in there: chiropractic, dental, vision. So she's like, I don't need this. So, but
Yeah.
that's a personal decision. I
Yeah.
would never encourage someone to get rid of their health insurance. That's a
Mhm.
personal decision, but we have
Yeah.
had people make that decision on their own.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
So, as you're developing your sales team, what do you look for in agents who can succeed in this evolving landscape? How do you support them in building and growing their client base, especially in a virtual setting?
Yeah, great man. You're killing me with these questions. Like you're all star. These are all star. The first thing that I look for is your ability to focus.
Hmm.
I just want to know, like, what is your ability to focus? Because one of
Yeah.
the biggest obstacles that I've encountered is distraction, because
Mm.
people are bombarded constantly and they may get involved, but then they just saw 10 other ads of how to make, $100,000 a day doing
Yeah.
this and do
Yeah.
so they're all over the place. So number one, can you focus? Number two, do you have a clear idea of who you want to be? Who do you want to be?
Yeah.
Do you want to be the spouse that
Yeah.
brings equal value or more to the monetary table of your relationship? Do you want to be the father or mother who can put their kids in private school because it's a better option for them without thinking
Yeah.
twice about it? Do you want to be the person that walks in the room and people respect you because they've heard about your business acumen, they've heard about
Yeah.
your impact you're making in the industry and how you're shaking things up, and they're like, who? Oh, that's that. Oh, there she
Yeah.
is. So if you have clarity on who you want to be and you can be focused, then you and I can start the conversation of what it's going to take to be successful here, because
Yeah.
this is all about long-term play. It's about building millions and millions of members over the next 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
The money part is easy when you have clarity and you have focus and you're focusing on adding value.
Yeah.
If you have those things, the money's going to come. You don't have to, in my
Yeah.
opinion, you don't have to think about the money. Just go out, serve, add value. And if you could be focused, I admit,
That's
I
key.
love some of them prank videos. They crack me up. And I'll watch one and I look up and 5 prank videos later, I'm like, dude, you've been here for 20 minutes. Get back to work.
Yeah.
I know how
Yeah.
hard it is. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how we start.
No, and I get that. I always, because my so heavily involved with my social media, I'm always in my phone, so it's easy to get slipped up. Like I've changed my algorithm so it's just puppy and Bible verses, but I gotta have the shade room on there. I need a little tea to get through my day, okay? Because it can't be work all the time. So I have to give my a little brain break. So
Yeah.
I do allow myself to have that. So I love that you're talking about the focus part, because in doing this, I've encountered a lot of agents that come to me for a lot of advice, where to go. Hey, is this right? Like, because they're trying to trust their gut and the decisions that they're making. But in doing so, a lot of times I see these people are not focused. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, you need to go get a job. And I don't know how to say that so nicely. So I guess I'm asking you, how do you tell someone who does not fit all of those parameters you just went through? How do you say, baby, no, this is not for you?
I recommend that they reevaluate what they think that
Mm,
they want,
I like that.
because if you're not willing to do X, Y, and Z, then you need to change your goal.
Mm,
Change your goal, change your
that's
outcome.
simple.
Yeah.
And so as we round up to our last question here, and I am like, you are so much value. I don't know if y'all hear that. $12,000 an hour. And somehow I convinced this man to help give out information, because it is so important. Because sometimes we got to do a pro bono work to get
Yeah.
out there and get these messages out there. Because to me, it really just it really shows your value and how serious you are about this and
Mhm.
getting people the help they need, and your message reaching the right people. So with that being said, what advice would you give to other agents who may feel limited to selling life insurance but want to explore additional opportunities in the health insurance or other advanced markets?
Well, I would first want to understand, why do they feel limited? Where is
Mm,
that coming from?
yeah,
How do you get to that feeling in such an abundant place that we all occupy? And again, I'm only speaking to people that are in the United States. I can't speak to
yeah,
other countries. I don't know what it's like there.
yeah,
I just know that here you have unlimited capacity,
yeah,
because, as long as you're healthy and you got your faculties, you can get out here and get to work. I understand we all have a lot of life going on. We have
yeah,
kids, we have elders we're caring for, we have jobs that we have, in addition to building a business. There, yes, for many of us, there are a lot of moving pieces. However, we still have an opportunity every day to go out and build toward
yeah,
our outcome, build toward our dream, build toward our goals.
yeah,
So the first thing you have to look at is, why is that even a part of your inner conversation?
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel limited. There's a reason why immigrants are 4 times more likely to become first generation self-made millionaires than people that are born here. They have a different come from. They have the same set of
mm,
problems that we do. Maybe they have more,
yeah,
but they don't allow any of that to stop them from getting what they came for. So that's
yeah,
number one. Number two, um, ask yourself and be really honest. Have I really given this all that I can give it? And
yeah,
have I put my head down for 12 months, not looked left or right, 6, 7 days a week, and really gotten after it? Because
yeah,
if you do that, and I'm not looking at, I mean, yeah, you got to have measuring sticks along the way to make sure
yeah,
you're doing the right things. Because I don't want you to, I'm going hard, but I'm not getting any results. Well, if you're not getting results, you're doing something wrong.
yeah,
So if you're going hard, and I've never seen this, by the way, I've never seen somebody go hard 60, 80, 100 hours a week for 12 months consecutively and not get life altering results. I have never
yeah,
met that person. So I would start with those two things right there.
yeah,
And for most people, the answer is going to be no, Ed. I've never put my head down for 12 months and gotten after it. So maybe I need to give myself that opportunity. And you're like, well, 12 months, man, that's forever. That takes so long. 12 months is going to come and go anyway.
exactly.
So are you going to continue to go back and forth? I'm hot today, I'm cold tomorrow, for another
Yeah,
12 months and be where you are a year from now? Or are you going to make a
yeah,
drastic change?
yeah. That's why I be telling people you should be scared of the position you are right now. It
Yeah.
should scare the heck out of you. And I think some people just can't expand that reality almost. And I would say it's more accountability.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be accountable. They want to blame somebody else, because in saying what you're saying, you're not just saying, hey, put your head down for 12 months and do it. Don't keep doing something that's not working. We already said that's the definition of insanity. Doing something, the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. It could
Mm-hmm.
be where you're at that's not working. The
Yeah.
leads that you're using, the people you surround yourself by. I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to that have told me, I've done this before. I've ran seminars, I've door knocked, I've done it by myself, but these people, I haven't made money with them. But I was like, but it sounds like you know how to make money.
Hmm.
I'm just like, you just told me all of these amazing things that you can do, and I'm not understanding why you're still dealing with them.
Right.
What are you afraid of?
And you know what, to your point, I think sometimes people feel a sense of loyalty. They
Mm-hmm.
feel like, well, I'm here and I said I was
Yeah.
going to be here and I want to give it a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you give it a
Yeah.
chance, but you have to be able to evaluate and recognize if it's time to pivot.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to pivot. Sometimes you're just in a relationship with the wrong person. This
Yeah.
person doesn't really respect you. They may treat you good sometimes,
Yeah.
and other times they don't because they don't respect you. They may look good. Y'all may look good on paper,
Yeah.
but ultimately, this is not a person that you need to be with because they're
Yeah.
not they're not helping you elevate. So it doesn't mean you're giving up on having a relationship. It
Yeah.
just means that you're pivoting from being in relationship with the wrong person. So
Exactly.
as you talked about before, sometimes you got to make a change, but
Yeah.
there's a sea of opportunity,
Yeah.
right? Like my one of my friends would always say, men are like buses. There's always another one coming up. So if you're not giving me what I want and we're not compatible, I have no problem moving on. So I
Baby.
was like,
Some of us need to realize I can't remember what comedian said it. He goes, some of y'all women, y'all sitting on scholarships. Full ride scholarships. But I will say this, don't be, to the listeners out there, don't be so loyal that you out there looking stupid.
yeah,
Don't do that. Do
that you're
not
hurting
do that.
yourself. Yeah.
So again, Ed, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And to everybody, my listeners out there, thank you so much for listening. This is the Great Reset podcast for Insurance Meets Accountability. Until next time.
You're so awesome. Thank you.